Hey guys, it's Michelle Lundy from Making It as a Middle School Teacher, and I am very happy to be hosting Chapter 3 using Math Warm-Ups and Guided Math for our Guided Math book study. And I'm actually co-hosting with Tanya from My Second Sense. She's an elementary school teacher and will be addressing the chapter from that viewpoint. And I teach 7th grade, so I will be coming from the perspective of a middle school teacher. And so that's kind of my mindset for how I'm looking at implementing this into my classroom. So warm-ups do set the tone for the day or the class period, and the book listed these ideas to help you sort of keep your warm-ups focused. And I know that all teachers know to do this. These are things we commonly do, but sometimes I think it helps to, have a list, something to go back and check on. So would all of those ideas work in a middle school math classroom? Absolutely. I don't know of a single classroom in my school or any other middle school that does not conduct a daily warm-up. It may be called a warm-up or a smart start or a brain spark, but there's something that the students come in and focus on immediately for every subject that they're going to that day. In fact, at our school, it's actually part of our lesson plans that we develop and part of our unit plans that we have to turn into administrators. So we are expected every class period to conduct a warm-up. The author actually called these math stretches. Just like an athlete needs to stretch to maximize performance, so do the students. I really like calling it that, and I think I'm going to change the wording in my classroom. Students have heard the word warm-up for so long that, maybe just changing the name makes them think they're doing something different or new. And I like the idea of them stretching their brain just like the athlete would need to stretch their muscles. So I think I'm going to incorporate that when school starts back for me in August this year. All right, the types of math stretches that were listed in the book are here for you. And she does recommend varying your use of these throughout the week, and we'll talk about that in just a minute. And I'm going to break these down for you. So data collection and analysis is the first one. Of course, you do need to have a question that you could collect data for. And deciding on the best graph, teachers would need to, of course, do that at the beginning of the year, the beginning of a new topic. But hopefully in middle school, students are able to pick that graph more often than not. And then the types of graphs that she mentioned that were good for discussion on these types of warm-ups: real graphs, pictographs, and the symbolic graph, where maybe you take sticky notes to the board and create a bar graph of a question maybe about your favorite color, and you're going to put the sticky note above the color that reflects your choice. That would be more of what we might use in this setting at the middle school level. You do want to have manipulatives available for the students that need them. And students are very competitive. They love to compare and analyze. It's just kind of natural at this age group for them to be very inquisitive, to see who all is in their group, who liked the green, who liked the red. I've got more in my group than you do. So you're kind of naturally drawing them in to this type of question, and if you can get them to buy into the question, that's half the battle in many cases. So the data collection and analysis would work well. Number of the day is my absolute favorite. You see, I put that I love this one. The teacher would have a number on chart paper or a whiteboard, and the students are going to each come in and write down a different representation for that number. Being able to recognize multiple representations is critical for students. It's something that we don't have a lot of time to teach individually. We don't focus on it as a specific skill very often, and I think maybe we might need to. So I am going to actually use this every day as a separate little time in my class, because that's how important I think it is. So for instance, maybe on one of these examples that I've shown you, 5 squared, the students are going to come in and write down 5 times 5, or 25, or 100 minus 75, different ways to show the same number over and over again. And so I absolutely love this one, and it will be going into my classroom routine every single day. Other examples you see that I've put there, I just put a couple of things that came to mind. The what's next would be when a teacher has a pattern started on the board or chart paper. Students are going to come in and begin to fill in the blanks. And the book encourages the teacher to try to hold back and not correct students at this point. Try to let them work together. Let them respectfully discuss, disagree, give ideas, hints, oh no, don't put that one there. Think about how many, are you adding to this number and what would happen then to the next number. It might be wrong too. So give them a chance to work it out amongst themselves. And again, I've put a couple of examples that would fit in with middle school math. The first one is the square numbers, and then the second one is the Fibonacci sequence, where some students will see it right away, some won't. That would be the beauty of this, of them working together. How did my family use math last night? Definitely shows students that math is all around them and that it's used every single day. I came up with some examples just off the top of my head. And sitting here looking at these, I could certainly come up with quite a few more because math really is involved in everything that we do. Blank makes me think of what? The book suggested this as a great activating strategy, and I completely agree with that. Maybe you have a new concept that you're working on, so you put a big idea word on the board. And students can only come in and write a word. They cannot write a picture or a number for this one. And try to get as many unique words as possible. So I gave you some examples there. Again, just the top of the iceberg there for all the concepts that we cover. But say for instance you have absolute value on the board and students come in and write down things that makes them think of. You can see immediately who's close, who's way off, who's got it exactly, or just maybe some quirky little things that might help to relate back to that topic later on for that student or another student. So I think it gives you a really good picture of where your students stand right then. So I really like this one as well. This would be my number 2 favorite without a doubt. All right, then I have a synopsis of figure 3.1 in the book where when you get ready to discuss the warm-up as a class, you've got think aloud, guided, facilitated, and independent. And I condensed down the teacher roles for space sake, but you can see them in a little more detail in the book. And of course the teacher support goes from highest to the lowest level, and as middle school teachers, sometimes we have to introduce something new in that higher level of support, but we definitely want to try to be working down towards the lower end of the spectrum whenever we can. All right, the author also suggested having a kind of a plan of the week. It wouldn't be a morning stretch for us, it would be an every class period math stretch. So for instance, maybe your students know that every Monday routine is going to be number of the day. For me personally, I know this would not work in my classroom because just from the nature of our lessons and our units, Wednesday may not always work for how my family used math last night. But I could certainly vary these up and kind of keep students fresh on the kind of topics that they're going to look at. I might need to do the same topic twice one week and maybe skip a topic for a couple of weeks, but I do like having a bunch of different options to focus on. Other suggestions were current events and jobs that all relate back to math in the classroom. Middle schoolers are very aware of some of these world concepts that are going on around them, and they really do enjoy conversations about those, maybe more than you would expect. They also still enjoy helping the teacher quite a bit, so give them some ownership, get them involved, let them take part in your classroom. Then the calendar board is the last thing. Typically found in the elementary classroom. I love it. However, I absolutely do not see any way that it would be feasible for a middle school math teacher to do this every day, just sheerly for the time constraints that are involved. I do have a plan for using some calendar math or calendar boards in a different type of math class that I teach once a day, and you'll see I've written a little bit there about it, and I do plan to try to have a video ready for that soon to give some more information. So can we work the ideas from this chapter into a middle grades classroom? Absolutely. I don't see any reason why almost 100% of the information in this chapter could not be placed, into a middle school classroom without any trouble. Here is my source, of course, and I appreciate everyone taking a minute out of your time, or actually about 10 minutes out of your time today to stop by and listen. And I hope you'll check out the website, and we'll see you later.